The Anunnaki came to our planet 450,000 years ago, Sumerian inscriptions claim. The Anunnaki are a race that about 450,000 years ago came to our planet. This is based on the reading of the Sumerian inscriptions by Zecharia Sitchin. The name Anunnaki means those who came from heaven to earth. Another nickname they have according to Lovecraft is the Great Ones or the Old Ones. The Anunnaki were bloodthirsty entities, people who demanded human sacrifices from those they conquered, and they created families to dominate the people so that through interbreeding they could preserve their genetic code, which gives them certain qualities. It's these families that have been controlling the world ever since, according to claims. Zecharia Sitchin, archaeologist and historical scholar, is one of the few who can read Sumerian cuneiform and other Akkadian languages. He spent decades studying the Sumerian culture, translating the clay tablets discovered in 1850 in the excavations of the ancient city of Nineveh in Iraq by Sir Austen Henry Layard. Sitchin tells us through his books that the clay tablets refer to how they and why the Anunnaki colonized our planet, and cites a lot of evidence to form his worldview, regardless of whether he has been accused of not translating correctly in some places. Zecharia Sitchin's data gives a trigger for a huge research on this topic to find out who these observers were who came to Earth in their heavenly ships, as the Egyptians said. The question is, how open-minded can we be to agree to investigate something that the establishment and the astute falsifiers of history have hoodwinked and ridiculed anything that deviates from the conventional history we learn today? Sitchin tells us in a few words that the mythologies of the peoples are the hidden history of the world, and that the great ancient civilizations are older than they are presented to us, and are a development of knowledge that the Anunnaki gave to the people. Sitchin attacks the scientific establishment. He said, I would totally agree with him, saying that they refuse to accept that the technology that science is slowly discovering today existed already thousands of years ago. The Anunnaki therefore came to Earth, and with the genetic machines they possessed, created man. In the inscriptions of the Sumerians are recorded facts about the origin of man and the creation. Some of them mention the tree of wisdom, the confusion of languages, the great flood 13,000 years ago that destroyed high-tech civilizations, etc. Does all this remind you of anything? If someone researches it thoroughly, they'll discover that there are no reports from any historian of the time about the events they mention to us, apart from their own writings, of course. And yet humanity still believes these fairy tales served to us by those who manage the history of the world. Of course, until the human experiment succeeded, defective hybrids were created like the various monsters mentioned in Greek mythology, half goat, half man, half snake, half man, half horse, things like that. Around the world, we see the worship of the reptile as something common, as well as the statues that represented the reptilian gods, and the common myth of the reptile that is a guardian of sacred sites, for example, like the Garden of the Hesperides. And from the Native American Hopi Indians, the Incas in South America, the Egyptians, the Indians, the Jews, Phoenicians, they all had their own reptilian deity. The Anunnaki are dominant entities who want to impose themselves on others, and they put a lot of emphasis on the brainwashing method and have perfected it in order to control humanity. Now, today they're still among us and aim to dominate the planet through the world government, they say. Now, the Anunnaki, in their first steps on planet Earth, circulated in their reptilian form. They slowly began to take over the planet using human form, began to control humanity through the fourth dimension. Nowadays, they exercise control through secret companies and puppet politicians. Now, they simply put someone in power and they can offer them a solution to the problems of everyday life that Anunnaki dynasties made sure to burden them with. Now, what is certain is that things and situations have happened and are taking place today on the planet that ordinary people will not only believe but not even understand. We are imprisoned in a virtual reality system they created, and we must be alert about that. And the Anunnaki, through the global campaign, promoted to convince us various things that may be detrimental to us. Now, the sun injects large amounts of electromagnetic energy into space. Some of this electromagnetic energy is attracted to and absorbed by the Earth's magnetic core, causing the Earth's molten iron core to heat up, and rising the heat from the Earth's core filters through the Earth's mantle into the surface, causing ice caps and glaciers below to melt. The position is considered a blind spot by astronomers. There's a global cause, greenhouse effect. Dr. McCandy explains Planet X enters our solar system almost below the sun's south pole. This position is considered a blind spot by astronomers, and this explains why Nibiru is not already visible to the naked eye in the night sky. It can already be seen by a huge telescope in various observatories around the world. And NASA just recently announced the launch of a telescope to the South Pole. Certain conspiracy theorists say that this particular telescope would have worked 2 years ago, and NASA said that these are science fiction scenarios. Of course, they again said that this is a research program related to celestial bodies that are outside the solar system, and for the study of sunspots. Of course, NASA denies the issue about Nibiru, as it denies in general that it is not convenient for it. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.